A lawyer shoots himself in front of a jury to prove his defense theory, dies 12 hours later. His client is acquitted. A corporate executive throws himself through a skyscraper window to prove it's unbreakable, falls 24 floors. An inventor jumps off the Eiffel Tower in a homemade parachute, leaves a crater in the ground. Today we're looking at history's biggest know-it-alls who are so dangerously overconfident they gave themselves the ultimate Darwin Award. Hit subscribe because extreme confidence meets extreme stupidity. Chapter 1. The Lawyer Who Shot Himself. Clement Vallandigham wanted to win a murder case so badly he accidentally killed himself proving his theory. And his plan actually worked. His client went free. 1871, Lebanon, Ohio. Thomas McGann is on trial for murder. Clement Vallandigham is his defense attorney, experienced, confident, former congressman. His defense: the victim accidentally shot himself during a bar fight while drawing his own gun. To prove this theory, Vallandigham decides to demonstrate in his hotel room the night before closing arguments. He has 2 pistols, one unloaded for demonstration, one loaded as evidence. He grabs the wrong gun. Vallandigham pulls out what he thinks is the empty pistol, demonstrates how the victim could have shot himself. The gun fires, real bullet, right into his own abdomen. His last words: "My God, I've shot myself." But the case is won. He was right. The jury saw the demonstration the next day, without the actual shooting. They were convinced. If an experienced lawyer can accidentally shoot himself demonstrating this, the victim could have too. McGann was acquitted. Vallandigham died 12 hours later. He literally died to win the case, and it worked. The most dedicated lawyering in history. Most attorneys argue with words. Vallandigham presented himself as evidence. At least that death was quick. The next guy had time to regret his decision on the way down. Chapter 2. Unbreakable Glass versus Gravity. Garry Hoy was absolutely right about the glass, catastrophically wrong about everything else. Because proving your windows are strong by body checking them has one fatal flaw. July 9th, 1993, Toronto. Garry Hoy is a corporate lawyer on the 24th floor of a skyscraper. His party trick? Running at windows and throwing his body against them to prove they're unbreakable. He's done this dozens of times, shows it to every new group of articling students. July 9th, another tour, another demonstration. Garry backs up, runs, launches himself at the floor-to-ceiling window. The glass doesn't break. He was right about that. The window frame pops out of its mounting. Garry falls 24 floors, still pressed against the unbroken window, riding it down. Dies on impact, still surrounded by the intact glass he was so proud of. Investigation showed the frame had been weakened by years of Garry throwing himself against it. He was 38 years old, respected lawyer, dead because he wanted to show off the tensile strength of tempered glass. He proved the glass was unbreakable, just forgot to check the frame. The story made international headlines. Lawyer falls to death trying to prove window was unbreakable. But at least falling is quick. The next guy watched the ground approach for several seconds. Chapter 3. The Eiffel Tower Parachute Suit. Franz Reichelt invented a parachute suit. Every test failed. He jumped off the Eiffel Tower anyway. Because he was convinced the problem wasn't his design, it was the testing conditions. 1912, Paris. Franz Reichelt is an Austrian tailor obsessed with flight. His invention? A wearable parachute suit. Pilots could wear it like clothing. If their plane crashes, they float safely down. He tests prototypes on dummies dropped from his apartment building. They all plummet, smash into the ground. The parachute barely slows them. Franz makes adjustments, tests again, same results. Physics is against him, but he's convinced he needs a proper test from significant height. February 4, 1912, authorities grant permission to test from the Eiffel Tower. Condition: he must use a dummy. Franz agrees publicly. Privately, he has other plans. Test day. Cameras ready, crowd gathered, journalists present. Franz appears wearing his parachute suit, climbs to the first platform, 57 meters up. He stands on the railing. The crowd realizes what's happening. "Monsieur Reichelt, you said you would use a dummy." Franz shouts, "I am testing it myself. It will work." He hesitates for over a minute, clearly having second thoughts. But cameras are rolling, crowd watching, he can't back down. He jumps. The parachute doesn't deploy. Franz drops like a stone, direct impact, leaves a crater in the frozen ground several inches deep. The fall was captured on film. The footage still exists. Every dummy test had failed. Friends begged him not to jump. Engineers explained the design flaws. But Franz was certain his invention would work. It just needed the right conditions. It didn't work. Physics doesn't care about conviction. Those deaths were at least quick. The next guy died slowly over years because he refused to see a doctor.
Chapter 4. Jack Daniel versus the Safe. The famous whiskey maker didn't die from drinking. He died from kicking a safe. Because Jack Daniel's pride was stronger than his survival instinct. October 9, 1906, Lynchburg, Tennessee. Jack Daniel arrives at work early, needs something from his office safe, can't remember the combination, tries several times, wrong, wrong, wrong. Jack loses his temper, kicks the safe as hard as he can, with his left foot, full force, direct impact on his big toe, breaks it, badly, possibly shatters it. Employees rush in. "Mr. Daniel, should we get a doctor?" "I'm fine, it's just a toe." It was not fine. Jack refuses medical treatment. He's stubborn, tough. A toe injury is nothing. The toe doesn't heal, gets worse, infection sets in. The toe swells, turns colors, starts to smell. Employees beg him to see a doctor. Jack refuses. The infection spreads into his foot, up his leg. Finally, reluctantly, Jack sees a doctor. Too late. Diagnosis: blood poisoning, gangrene, spreading. They amputate his toe, doesn't stop the spread. Amputate his foot, still spreading. Amputate below the knee, above the knee. The infection continues. October 10, 1911, Jack Daniel dies, 5 years after kicking the safe. The man who built a whiskey empire died because he was too proud to see a doctor about a broken toe. Every bottle of Jack Daniels is a reminder: pride kills. But those guys at least died doing something dramatic. The next ones died doing something incredibly stupid.
Chapter 5. The Pilot Who Landed on a Roof. Jules Vedrines bet he could land a plane on a department store roof. He won the bet, then died trying to leave, because landing is only half the problem. January 1919, Paris. Famous aviator Jules Vedrines makes a bet. Galeries Lafayette department store offers 25,000 francs to any pilot who can land a plane on their roof. Vedrines accepts. Everyone thinks he's insane. January 19, 1919. Thousands gather to watch. Vedrines approaches in his co-drawn G3 biplane. The roof is tiny, barely room to land. He touches down perfectly, stops just meters from the edge. The crowd goes wild. He wins the 25,000 francs. Then someone asks the obvious question. How are you getting down? Vedrines, I'll fly off, obviously. The roof is too small, no runway, no room for takeoff. Vedrines doesn't care. He's a skilled pilot. He can make it work. He waits for perfect wind conditions, winds up the engine, full throttle. The plane accelerates across the roof, reaches the edge, doesn't have enough speed, drops off the roof, nosedives into the street below. Vedrines is pulled from the wreckage, seriously injured, dies 2 weeks later from complications. He proved he could land on the roof, just couldn't leave. Won 25,000 francs, cost him his life. At least he tried something impressive. The next guy died proving a chair was strong. Chapter 6. The Chair That Killed a Baker. Carl Tangora wanted to prove his new chair was indestructible. It wasn't. And demonstrations involving standing on furniture rarely end well. 1981, Australia. Carl Tangora is a baker, also an amateur furniture maker. He's just finished building a new chair, extremely sturdy, heavy-duty construction. He's proud of it, wants to show everyone how strong it is. His demonstration: stand on the chair, jump up and down, show it can support dynamic weight. He invites friends to his bakery, shows off the chair. Watch this. This chair can support anything. Carl climbs onto the chair, stands up, starts jumping. The chair holds once, twice, 3 times. 4th jump, the chair collapses. Carl falls backward, hits his head on the concrete floor, dies instantly from head trauma. He was trying to prove the chair was strong enough to support his weight during jumping. The chair wasn't strong enough to support his weight during jumping. The autopsy revealed massive head trauma. The fall killed him immediately. His friends watched him die demonstrating furniture strength. Imagine that funeral. How did Carl die? He was proving his chair was strong. Was it? No. At least that was an accident. The next guy deliberately did something stupid for a bet. Chapter 7. The Car Roof Challenge. Michael Robert Lawrence bet he could hold on to a car roof at 70 miles per hour. He couldn't, because some bets aren't worth winning. 1983, Australia. Michael Robert Lawrence is at a party with friends, drinking, talking. Someone mentions car roof riding. I bet I could hold on at 70 miles per hour, Michael says. His friends laugh. No way, you'd fall off. Wanna bet? They bet. Real money. Michael is confident. He climbs onto the roof of a car, grabs the roof rack, holds tight. Drive, he shouts. The driver accelerates. 30 miles per hour. 40 miles per hour, 50 miles per hour. Michael is holding on, barely. Wind resistance is enormous. 60 miles per hour, 70 miles per hour. Michael's grip fails. He flies off the roof, lands on the road at 70 miles per hour, dies instantly. His friends stop the car, rush back. Too late. Michael Robert Lawrence died to win a bet about holding on to a car roof. The driver was charged with manslaughter. The defense, Michael insisted, made the bet, refused to get off. The court ruled accidental death. The driver received a suspended sentence. Michael was 24 years old, died proving he could hold on to a car roof at 70 miles per hour. He couldn't. 7 deaths, 7 proud people, 7 completely preventable tragedies. These weren't stupid people. They were confident, accomplished, successful. which makes their deaths even more tragic. What they had in common: first, extreme confidence, absolutely convinced they were right. Second, ignored warning signs. Every one of them had evidence their plan would fail. Third, pride prevented them from stopping. Backing down meant admitting they might be wrong. Fourth, they were right about details, wrong about everything else. Vallandigham proved his defense theory, died doing it. Hoy proved the glass was strong, the frame wasn't. Reichelt knew parachutes work, his didn't. Daniel knew toes heal, not with untreated gangrene. Vedrines could land on roofs, couldn't take off. Tangora's chair held his weight until it didn't. Lawrence could hold on until he couldn't. The lesson: confidence is good. Overconfidence kills. Test your theories, but maybe don't use yourself as the test subject. So that's what happens when pride meets stupidity. A lawyer who shot himself proving a defense theory, an executive who fell through a window, an inventor who jumped off the Eiffel Tower, a whiskey maker who died from an infected toe, a baker killed by his own chair, a man who fell off a car at 70 miles per hour. All confident, all accomplished, all dead because they couldn't admit they might be wrong. The next time you're absolutely certain you're right about something, remember these stories. Maybe double check. Maybe ask for a second opinion. Maybe don't demonstrate by shooting yourself, jumping off buildings, or riding on car roofs. If you enjoyed this exploration of fatal overconfidence, smash that subscribe button. Drop a comment. What's the dumbest thing you've done to prove you were right? See you next time, where hopefully we discuss people who survived their demonstrations.